Shalom, it's Daniel Stern coming at you on the 468th day of the war, and I'm here in downtown Jerusalem at the Netivyah building, and I'm here to report about the updates regarding the hostage deal, hostage negotiation, ceasefire deal, surrender deal, whatever you wish to call it. Here's the information, and then after that we can analyze and discuss it a little bit. So far it seems that on Sunday 5 hostages will be returned as part of the first stage of the 3-part stage ceasefire hostage deal, which will include a 42-day first stage in which 33 hostages will be returned. Of them, 23 to 24 are suspected to be alive. The order of the release will be first live-in women, then live-in men, and then those who are no longer among the live-in. Each one of them will have a key release number of 110 terrorists for each one of them. It seems that in addition to those terrorists, there'll be another 1,000 people who were arrested since October 7th but have not yet been charged with crimes or are not associated with any known terrorist organization, that are not considered terrorists, that will be released. The location of the release will either be to the Gaza Strip or abroad, probably to Qatar or Turkey, and the decision will be of the people being released, that they will be able to decide where they would like to be released to. During this time, Israel will withdraw a majority of its forces from the Gaza Strip. There will be soldiers left in the Netzarim corridor, in the Philadelphia border corridor. The Philadelphia corridor is on the border with Egypt, and it's the main corridor for smuggling arms from Egypt into Gaza, along with other contraband. It is the lifeline for rearming the Gaza Strip and the Hamas. The Netzarim corridor is the division between North and South Gaza. Currently, North Gaza is relatively depopulated, and removing Israeli soldiers from Netzarim will fully allow Hamas and the Gazan population to go back to the north. As part of the first stage agreement, I believe on the 8th day, the Gazan population will be allowed to return north. From my understanding, they'll be allowed to return unarmed, on foot, and with no security checks. But again, this is still not yet official information, but this is what the rumor mills and the reports have come so far. So everything I say, take with a grain of salt. On the 42nd day of this ceasefire, Israel will need to remove the majority of its forces and relocate the forces out of the Philadelphia corridor, and that is supposed to take 8 days up until the 50th day. In addition, of course, there are reports that may or may not be true from Israeli sources saying that Israel will not leave the Philadelphia corridor, but take those with more than a grain of salt. And of course, we are very glad to have Israeli civilians returned to their families, to Israel. We hope that they are alive and in whatever health we pray and hope they can be after 468 days as hostages. Everyone wants them to come home. The only debate is how damaging for Israel's security this deal is. And many on the right feel that this deal is very bad for Israel's security, such as the leader of the Jewish Power Parliament Party, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and the leader of the religious Zionist Party, Bezalel Smotrich, who both feel that this deal is terrible, and yet are not leaving the right-wing coalition and breaking up the government. So it's probably all demagogia and attempts to strengthen their voting for the future by saying how much they disagree with it. But in reality, they're not stopping it. And yet, one always has to ask, what was the goals of the war from the get-go? Was it vengeance? Was it occupation of Gaza? Was it destroying the Hamas? Was it retrieving the hostages? And after 15, 16 months of this war, we can certainly say that we have not achieved any of our goals in a definitive way. The Hamas is still the ruling authority in the Gaza Strip. The Hamas is still a threat to Israel, although less so at this point in time. The Hamas still holds hostages, although less. But we're still there. Soldiers are still dying. Day before yesterday, I was at the funeral of a soldier who was killed. It was a very difficult event. I didn't know him well, but his family and mine are intertwined from the early 70s through multiple generations. I won't go into all the details because of privacy, but it was not an easy event for myself, but of course, who am I? It's not an easy event for all of Israel, and certainly not for his family and his close friends. The second stage of the hostage deal will involve further redeployment out of the Gaza Strip, further entrance of humanitarian goods. Already in the first stage, the number of trucks provided daily is supposed to go up to 600 trucks, which is unfortunate because over 90% is stolen by the Hamas and sold at exorbitant prices to the population, which is not, of course, what it was meant for. And in the third stage, there's talk about rebuilding the Gaza Strip and who will be in control of it, whether it'll be the Palestinian Authority, UNRWA, Egypt, United States. We'll have to wait and see what the actual details of the deals and the treaties say. But that's the information so far, and I, for one, am of course grateful to the Lord and to those who are working that some of our hostages will be released. And yet, on the other hand, it is very difficult for me to see that Israel is given hundreds of terrorists, murderers, who want nothing more than to kill more Jews for innocent civilians at best, and corpses, unfortunately, as well. But what can I do except pray and ask God for wisdom? And that's what I ask of you today as well. Join us in prayer, whether it's gratitude or wisdom for these hostages. Pray for their physical and emotional health, as well as for their families and for all of Israel that is in such a chaotic time with so much division in the land. So God bless you all, and shalom.